Hello, this is former Sunderland captain George Honeyman here. This Christmas, ROKER Report are raising funds for Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen. It's a fantastic charity with the soul of the community at its heart, and they'll be working round the clock this Christmas to make sure hungry people in our city don't go without. They couldn't do it without your help. You can be certain that your donation, no matter how large or small, will be put to good use to provide help for local people who are in desperate need of it. You can find the links on ROKER Report's Twitter and Facebook page. Thank you for all your help and a Merry Christmas to all of you. Stay safe.
Hello everyone and welcome to the ROKER Report Player Ratings podcast in association with Sunderland Community Soup Kitchen. My name is Anthony Waterson and I am joined tonight by Chris Wynn. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, Ant. Bit deflated, but yeah, we'll get into it.
Yep, certainly will. And also from sunnier climates, all the way from Australia, is Martin Wallace. How are you?
I'm alright, mate. Yes, there's a few things to pick through from tonight's and today's activity, isn't there?
Yeah, we might as well get right into it. Sunderland have drawn 1-1 with AFC Wimbledon, which really doesn't tell the whole story at all. Wimbledon took the lead just on the stroke of half-time after a penalty by Joel Piggott after Cal McFadzean had really done terribly in the box and gave away a penalty. Sunderland then, in the second half, equalised to Bailey Wright with a very good finish from the centre-half, right into the corner. Lovely goal. Both teams had chances to win it. Probably the best came from Wimbledon. The Birds tried to punch one straight to their striker. They put one wide. Sunderland tried to create a couple of things, but didn't quite work off, especially for Will Grigg again. Chris, we'll ask you, first of all, before any of these highlights, should the game have gone ahead, as Sunderland had 8 players ruled out, having to self-isolate with COVID-19. We found that out a couple of hours before kickoff. Should the game have gone ahead, Chris?
Yeah, well, I just don't really get it. I don't get why the EFL haven't got real solid guidelines in place where it's just, I mean, even everyone's experienced workplaces, schools, whatever, and if there's cases, then there's consequences, whether people get kind of pulled out or you just kind of close something down. And I mean, what sets football apart? I mean, if there's a bubble, which there apparently is with the squad, and then there's positive kind of tests and people come back with COVID, then surely then people in that bubble need to isolate and take stock and test. I mean, the night of the game, people say, right, we've got positive tests and people have got COVID, and then you've got another squad to play directly against them and mix with them. I mean, what do you think's going to happen? It's absolutely ridiculous that the AFL haven't got the guidelines where it's just, right, you've got COVID cases, you postpone games until we know exactly what the state of play is at the club and we know what the situation is in terms of number of positive tests and how the bubble's working, and then you make an assessment after the game, but you call the game off. So I don't really get why they haven't got real solid guidelines in place, because it doesn't seem to have. Yeah,
Martin, now, well, I'll ask you this. Do you think Sunderland have, because it's been not very clear that we've tried to get the game called off, or the EFL have said, well, you can, but there'll be an investigation. Have Sunderland maybe just went, well, we're going to be missing a couple of games, shall we play this one and hope for the best? Or, should it just be, right, it's off, as simple as the game is off?
I think there's going to be a lot of fallout from this. And obviously we're recording this directly after the game, so we haven't heard anything from Lee Johnson about the the situation before the game. The fact that there's there's nothing in place that's very definitive from the EFL is surprising on one hand and completely unsurprising on the other, given the lack of leadership the EFL has shown over the course of the year. But we're 10 or 11 months into COVID-19 and they haven't got a definitive policy on when matches should be called off or played. When you look at the guidance, I had a sort of quick scout around the EFL website trying to figure out what the guidance was, and really it's at the club's discretion to call it off if there's cases, but there will be an investigation. If the match can be fulfilled, it should be fulfilled. So, the fact that the AFL couldn't tell Sunderland whether or not there would be a sanction, which I think would be ridiculously harsh and would get an awful lot of bad press if there was, is one thing. I think we've kind of gone, you know what, we can get 3 points here, give some of the younger players a chance, but, it obviously hasn't worked, and I think we should have called it off.
Yeah, I mean, just to quickly come in, I mean, I don't get what the difference is between, we're talking about 8 positive cases, but I mean, if you've got one positive case in your squad and you're living like a bubble within your football squad, I mean, if you've got 1 or 8, you've got a positive, test. You've got a positive kind of COVID outcome within the squad. So there needs to be a set guidelines. I mean, people were talking about. I mean, I saw the tweet from Keith Downey talking about the AFL haven't got a number of players that triggers a postponement.
That's nuts, isn't it?
But what's the difference? I mean, what's the difference between 3 players, 7 players, 8 players, 10 players, 1 player? There's no difference. If you've got COVID within that bubble, then there needs to be consequences.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is as well, you look at Bristol Rovers and Charlton today, they had theirs called off straight away. Whatever sanctions comes in for that one, it was called off so quickly this morning. I mean, we must have known yesterday that, I think it's Chris Maguire who's tested, that Chris Maguire was showing signs of COVID-19. So surely something there has triggered where we thought, right, we might have to call this game off tomorrow. And for it to come out, 2 hours before kick-off, I mean, we were getting kind of messages in the WhatsApp group when we thought it would have been 2, 3 or 4, didn't we? But it's just, for me, it's just happened so, it's slow reaction again, where really it should have been done this morning and then we wouldn't have had this argument, you know what I mean? The game would have been called off, Saturday would have been called off. You play those games, safety and the health of some of the players involved and possibly the Wimbledon players must be paramount. No matter if we need to win or, football comes second to a global pandemic. I mean, I just can't see any other way around it. It must have been called off for me. But it wasn't. And we played. And, it wasn't the greatest of games. I think Sunderland had a lot of possession, didn't really do enough with it. And on the stroke of half time, Martin, I mean, awful defender by McFadden, releases Pickett to score a penalty. I mean, it's just typical Sunderland, wasn't it?
It was quite pathetic defending, really, wasn't it? He didn't have to do that. He had a little tug out sort of outside the box, didn't he? And I thought he might get away with it. I thought the referee might give a free kick outside the box, but he kept on going, and his first attempt didn't quite get him, so he kept on going, pulling the shirt, and definite penalty. And it just kind of that typified McFadden's night, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I mean, there was not one Sunderland player appealed, was there?
Yeah.
And so obviously at half time we bring on Lyndon Gooch, who didn't look fit at all. We managed to get an equaliser, Chris, across from, I think it was Conor McLaughlin, very well taken by Bailey Wright. Really good goal, actually.
It was a fantastic finish, wasn't it? I mean, let's stick him up front for the rest of the season. If he's
going to do any worse,
exactly. I mean, Lamel just to get a chance because some of our strikers have played far longer than him up front. he was up front for about 5 minutes and got himself a chance. But yeah, I mean, it was obvious in the first half Wimbledon came with a game plan and they executed it. To be fair, I mean, we didn't have enough to break them down. I thought we had some decent energy, decent tempo, but just kind of same old failings really that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks. Not enough guile in that final third to break down a defence who just want to sit and wait for us to do something. And it felt like another Wigan at half time, but thankfully Bailey Wright got that goal.
Yeah, very well taken. Well done, Bailey. And like I say, the game, it didn't really fizzle out. I mean, Wimbledon came at us, Martin, and a couple of good chances for them that they put wide, and Lee Burge had to make one save, which he should have done a lot better with anyway when he tried to punch it out to the goalkeeper, but it eventually finished 1-1. I mean, do you see that with everything that's gone in as a point gained or 2 dropped?
I think in the context of the game, it's 2 points dropped. Like you look at that game, and if we've got any aspiration whatsoever of going up, we need to win games against Wimbledon at home. We need to win games against Wigan at home, don't we? It's, I think we could easily have lost it, like, couldn't we? They looked like the team most likely to win it at the end. And you say Burge had that funny one where he punched it out. I think when they hit the bar, they got a throw in from that, didn't they? I don't know whether Burge actually got a touch onto the bar or whether it took a slight deflection off the defender who was coming in. But it's a point, and I think if you'd reverse the results from Saturday and tonight, and we got a point away at Lincoln and beaten Wimbledon at home, we'd be fairly satisfied with the whole thing, wouldn't we? But
I was just going to say, if you go purely off chances, just like you kind of mentioned there, though, Martin, I think a point was probably a fair result.
Oh, I don't dispute it's a fair result at all, but I just think if you look at the fixtures that we've got, where we are in the league, what we want to do, and you look at where Johnson is in his sort of managerial reign with us, it's certainly 2 points dropped, like. And you look at that performance, and I think this isn't any criticism of Johnson whatsoever, because obviously there was a whole host of mitigating factors today, wasn't there? But if you didn't know we'd change our manager, that was a Parkinson performance. We didn't threaten the goalkeeper.
Yeah.
We were, trying to keep it tight. We didn't create anything. We really struggled to break down the opposition, and they looked really laboured and really slow, and it was kind of the polar opposite of Saturday.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I'd actually written down that Parkinson performance, but I mean, teams are going to come to Sunderland now and do what they've done, what Wimbledon did, and what Wigan did. They're going to just sit back, aren't they, and try and get a goal, and then sit back even more, which is what happened tonight. And it's up to us now to, break them down and find ways and means of doing it, because that's all. Teams aren't going to come here and play football, because they'll get beat. It's simple as, you saw what happened on Saturday when a team tried to play football against us. We hammered them 4-0. So, it's penny for thought for Johnson, really, to try and find a way to break that down. But we'll go into the player ratings now. I will take Lee Burge. I've given him a 6. I couldn't really do anything about the penalty. It was a well-taken penalty. He made a good save in the first half when they broke away. And he's already got marked down for that flap at the end. I did have him as a 7, but that flap at the end gave him a 6. I thought was just shocking. I thought it was just shocking goalkeeping. So if that's harsh, it's harsh. Fair enough. We'll go to Conor McLaughlin with Chris. Again, I think another solid performance from Conor McLaughlin. We keep saying it.
Kind of. I thought I've got him down as a 4. To be honest, I thought he was solid enough. He started
not so solid.
He started out half decent, but I just thought as the game went on, he just kept giving the ball away too much. He just didn't keep possession for us at all. I think apart from he did get forward once down the right where he actually put that decent cross in for Will Grigg in the middle when Will Grigg kind of ran to the near post, which was half decent, but he didn't do it enough, and he just didn't keep possession for us enough. I'm not sure I can really knock him down too much on the defending side, although we got caught out a couple of times at the back. But yeah, I just want more for. Actually, with Conor McLaughlin, he's getting to a standard where you kind of expect a level of performance, just not spectacular but solid. And I just thought he was a bit below that.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he was a little bit below what he'd done in the last few weeks.
Yep, no problem at all. Well, that, to be honest, right, Martin, Dion Sanderson, got a chance today, took it, I think, did well.
Yeah, I thought he did pretty well. And I think that's one of the positives out of today's game, along with the COVID tests. We've been able to give the likes
positives.
been able to give the likes of Sanderson and Embleton and people like that game time. So I thought he did pretty well. Nothing spectacular. I do like the way he carries the ball out of defence. I think he can kind of add a different dimension to what we do. But I gave him a 6. I thought he was pretty solid.
Yeah, dealt with Pickett very well, I thought, as well. Pickett's a good striker for Wimbledon, as did Bailey Wright, who I've gave a 7. Thought he was very good defensively. Got a little bit worried when he took that knock just after half-time with his knee, but then recovered from that to score a very good goal to ultimately get us a point. We'll move on to... I don't think this is going to be very high from Chris. Callum McFadzean.
No, I thought he was terrible. I thought I've got him down as a 3. He just seemed uncomfortable on the ball first half. He gave the ball away a lot. Awful defending for the penalty, and then after that, just kept giving the ball away. He just didn't want to seem to pass to another Sunderland player. And then to kind of top it all off, later on, we were kind of in a dangerous position, and he couldn't throw the ball in properly and gave away a foul throw.
He got hooked straight away, didn't he? After that,
yeah, just a terrible night all round for McFadzean. I've got him down as a 3.
Yeah, you deserve to lose a mark just for a foul throw, because really professional footballers should not be foul throwing. I'm sorry, but shocking. I'll give him a 3 as well. In fact, he was a 4 and then a 3 because of the foul throw. Right, we'll go for Grant Ledbetter, man.
Yeah, I've got Grant Ledbetter as a 6. Again, pretty steady. Tried to influence the game positively. Tried to take control. It gave the ball away a few times, as he kind of tends to do on occasion. But no, he's pretty solid. And look, he had Embleton alongside him in the second half, which put a lot more responsibility on Grant as a defensive midfield player. But no, I thought he's all right. Unspectacular 6.
Yeah, solid, but not spectacular. I've got George Dobson. Right, I've given him a 5. I just can't say anything. He did some all right forward runs, I suppose, but he came off at half time ultimately. The only plus point, he's got rid of that ridiculous long hair. That's the only plus point I can say about him. He's dreadful. No, he's just not good enough, is he, for Sunderland? Chris, will go to Elliot Embleton.
Yeah, I was quite impressed with Embleton tonight. I thought he had some good energy. I thought he made some good runs into the box. He had a header in the first half. I think it was about 5 minutes before the end of the first half. where he got into the box and got into a good position. Maybe should have done better with that. But it was interesting in the second half when we changed formation and he went into kind of alongside Ledbetter and he went deep. It was quite interesting after that because he was the one ticking us over rather than Ledbetter.
Yeah.
He was the one who kind of dropped deep and went hunting for the ball. And I thought he had a bit more urgency than Ledbetter when he was on the ball. When Embleton was on the ball, you could actually... He looked as if he knew we were getting beat rather than, when people were kind of ponderous on the ball and taking too long with it. He was at least trying to get things moving. So I had him down as a 6.
Yeah, fair comment, mate. Fair comment. Aidan O'Brien, Martin.
Oh, thank you.
Another one who had a big chance today, hasn't took it.
He did. Look, I think, to be fair to him, he hasn't played for 3 or 4 weeks. He played the full game, didn't he?
Yeah.
And I thought he actually started off pretty brightly. He had a few nice touches and he was kind of more reminiscent of the Aidan O'Brien who we saw play against Hull at the very start of the season than the one that we've seen play subsequently. But, he had a few nice touches, but he didn't really do anything, did he? He didn't, he had a couple of long ranges, one that I think he meant, one that he didn't. He didn't threaten, and for a forward, I just don't really see what he contributes to the team apart from sort of knitting play together on occasion, so...
Never looks like he's going to score.
No, he just doesn't threaten the goal. So look, I've gone for a decimal. 5.5.
A decimal, go for it. Yeah. I'll go to possibly a bright spark here. Jack Diamond. Thought again his pace scares teams. Not everything that he tries is going to come off. Well, that's youth. But I thought he was probably our most dangerous attacker, which probably isn't saying that much, but I thought he did really well again. And I've given him a 7.
Tell you what, and with Diamond, him and Embleton, I just really enjoy watching them. The touch is there, the intelligence is there for such young players, and not everything's going to come off by any stretch of the imagination, but they've got intent and they're trying to really affect the game positively. And I would love us just to stick with those two in the side, give them the run of games, give them the experience, because they could be very, very good players for us, and they've got more potential than any other players that we have in the squad.
Yeah, you'd rather have Embleton playing than Dobson, for instance.
That's right.
Chris. I know Dobson's only young, but Embleton looks a lot better than Dobson. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just tell by his touch and his awareness, and they're trying to turn and look at and try to affect things, and it's really pleasing to see, even in the context of today's relatively disappointing result. It's a positive, I think.
Yeah, and it's exactly that word you used there. That when they got the ball, they were positive and always looked forward. And I think people are going to have to get used to Jack Diamond a little bit, and the fact that he'll look to go at people. Maybe, especially with how young he is, he might look to go at his opposite number kind of, maybe a bit too much rather than maybe kind of mixing it up and coming, giving it easy once or twice. Because if it only comes off kind of once every 4 times, there's going to be an element of frustration there. So he needs to pick and choose his times to actually take on his fullback and have a go at them. But he was so positive. It's just pleasant to see after watching us play so far this season.
Hopefully they're both on good contracts.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I know for definite Elliot Embleton's is up at the end of the season. I'm not sure on Jack Diamond, but Elliot is definitely up at the end of the season. But, we'll see what happens with that. Chris, while you're on, we've got the enigma that is Will Grigg. Great chance again and he hasn't took it again.
Yeah, well, I've gotten all the interesting ones today. McLaughlin,
you haven't, yeah. Sorry.
And now Will Grigg. Slightly anonymous, but he didn't particularly get a lot of service. The odd cross he did get in the first half, you can see he's trying to make those runs that he wasn't doing, I don't think, 2 or 3 months ago when he was brought into the side. He was very static when he was brought in earlier in the season, and he's starting to make those runs that I think he probably was before he came to Sunderland, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you can see he's trying. He's just he needs some service, and he just didn't get it tonight. And I've got him down as a 5 because at least he went looking for it.
Yeah, pretty much agree. He just needs a goal, doesn't he? He needs something to happen. He needs to go in off his arse or something like that, and they probably will come, but his chances are running out, especially how well Charlie White's been doing, isn't he? And he looks sad, bless him, I think, Will Grigg, to be honest. He looks really sad. I think he needs a good Christmas, and then, a COVID-free Christmas.
Well, he might get a Christmas holiday now, mightn't he?
Might, yeah. Or a move. Anyway, I'll quickly rattle off the subs. Linda Gooch, I just saw, I've just put unfit, because he just didn't look as if he wanted, he didn't look as if he could run past defender because of the injury that he's had. Mitch Curry, a 5, thought he looked pacey, but, didn't really get a chance to get on the end of anything. John Willis, probably looked all right, actually, when he came on. It looked as if he got his pace back a little bit, but wasn't on long enough, to be honest. We'll have a man of the match from each of you, and we'll start with you, Chris.
Well, probably we could tell we were talking about it. It's kind of a toss of a coin between Embleton and Diamond for me. I thought they were both look positive, both kind of everything seemed to come through those two. And I'm going to go for Embleton because I thought he kind of took over that mantle from Ledbetter in the second half and kept us ticking over. So I'm going to go for Embleton.
No problem, Martin.
Purely for the beauty of his left foot strike, I'm going to go for Bailey Van Basten.
We've got three different ones because I've gone for Dion Sanderson. Just thought he's defending today for the chance that he had. He hasn't had much chance for Sunderland. Thought he defended very well. Thought he dealt with Piggott really well. Looks a half decent player. So we've got three different man of the matches. That shows you what match we've been watching. And finally, we'll go on rate the manager. Martin, we'll start with you.
I think it's a really difficult one to give Johnson any sort of score for, really, given all the disruption that he had. As I said, it was a typical Phil Parkinson performance rather than a Lee Johnson performance, or what we hope and are led to believe a Lee Johnson performance will be. So, given the context of the game, I think he obviously had a tough task today, but I don't think he deserves any more than a 6. I think 6 is probably generous.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for. I'm really kind of loath to go one lower just because he had so many problems, but I'm going to go for a 5 because actually I think on paper we actually had a half decent team out. We don't know really how fit O'Brien was, so there's a question mark on that. Gooch clearly didn't look fit, and maybe he rushed Willis back as well because we needed bodies on the bench. But I'm going to give him a 5 because I just think with the team we put out, I thought we should have played better against Wimbledon. Simple as that. I thought he did well at half time. Because something needed to change, so he brought Dobson off and changed the formation, put Embleton and Ledbetter in front of the back four, pushed one further forward in Gooch. So at least he tried something. He was proactive. The one concern I've got is against Lincoln, we could have easily been 2 down because we got caught a couple of times before we got the first goal. And tonight we looked a bit flaky in terms of Wimbledon looking dangerous every time they got the ball running at our back four. Sometimes it was on the counter and sometimes it was just a long ball over the top. Whether Johnson's trying to push us further up the pitch, I don't know. But I don't know whether it's us getting used to the back four after playing with a 3 for so long. But I think if going forward, if this is anything to go by, we might have to accept that we're going to give teams a few chances. But I just hope that our attacking play gets better and we score more. But we'll have to see moving forward because I hope we tighten up a little bit at the back.
Yeah, I've actually given him a 6 as well, but I could go down to a 5.5, a 5, because I agree with both your points. I just think the disruption of what we've had, on game day, to get a point, but we probably should have played better. So maybe 5.5 to a 6. We'll probably leave it on that one. Plenty of room for improvement.
We've split him, Martin.
You've split us. You have. Lastly, everyone at ROKER Report would like to send their deepest condolences to the family of David Dent. David was a huge Sunderland fan who was the secretary of the Sedgefield Branch. Anyone who's been to any away game will know who David is. This sad time, I would like to send out our sincere condolences. Rest in peace, David.